got 25 minutes. We got to go.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Hump day. There's the camera.
Happy hump day, everybody. Say that, nation. We in the building.
Super excited to have everyone. So, a couple of things that we wanted to mention. Firstly, if you guys remember, we had a guest on with us. His name is Keith Gross. It's a brother from another. We are super, super grateful to Keith because he believes so much in what we're doing that he donated to our fund and got both Winston and I new cameras and mics. So we are legit now. We got like the high-tech cameras and the microphone. So thank you. Huge shout out to Keith.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And those of you who are new to our channel, we'll tell you a little bit how it goes. Basically, we are unapologetic in talking to people about the ugly come up that occurs during your building of your business, right? We see people going from nothing to like massive success, but what is happening in the middle? So that's what we talk about, as we focus on, and we're here for you. We're here to like get into the realness of what this looks like and create community around that. And so in doing so, we have 25 minutes to go over a topic for today, and anything that we can't finish, then we go into overtime. And to access any of the overtime, you have to become a community member of ours on Patreon. The Patreon link is in the comments below. And so you can just join us on Patreon if you are not already one of our community members, and you can catch the overtime there.
Absolutely amazing. And guys, if you are new to the channel, we are in a series right now discussing mental health. We know that Mental Health Awareness Month is actually next month. And so a lot of these conversations are just leading up into that. And specifically, we're talking about mental health in the space of business and how that could be affecting or helping and so on. And one of the topic specifically for today, Janelle, let me get that drum. Boom.
Today's question is the taboo around mental health hurting your business?
Absolutely. And so it's not just Janelle and I who are actually going to be diving into this. We actually have a special guest who's going to be joining the conversation today.
I'm really excited to introduce our guest. She is just a light, just a bright light, a ball of joy and love every time she walks into a room. She's a mother, a wife, a boss queen, entrepreneur, life and marriage coach. I'm super excited to bring with us Venice Garner.
Our next guest.
Hey, there she is. And I realized I said Garner, but it's more. I apologize, Venice.
No problem. Hello.
Venice, welcome to the show.
Oh, we're super excited to have you too. Thank you for being here. So look, we've got 25 minutes. We got to answer the question, right? So before we get into it, just tell everybody a little bit about your own journey. How did you become an entrepreneur yourself? How did you decide to go from the corporate world to working with people on your own?
So I've been in the mental health field for about 17 years now, and I was an executive director for a private special ed school that was national. So I used to work in Maryland for the company, moved on to Connecticut due to a few promotions, and I oversaw a lot of the clinicians within the company. So we were building a lot of different schools. It was a really high level up position, and I was the only African American female in Connecticut in that position. So you can only imagine, how the role could be, especially when you want to be efficient and effective, and you want to make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's. So for me, that took a lot, and it was not a lot of good, healthy work-life balance. I would go on vacation with my boyfriend at the time, now husband. I would have my laptop. I'll be interviewing people. I'll be ordering supplies for the schools. And then I had to sit and ask myself, like, what am I doing here? This is just not, it didn't fit me. You know what I mean? And knowing that, I wanted to grow my family, I made a choice to start embracing your difference. I started with my first conference, and then I thought about giving my resignation, and then they tried to push more money, like, oh, maybe you could stay and do another year. I did one more year, but I didn't feel comfortable within my spirit, and I felt like some of the values of the company just wasn't in alignment with me anymore. So I took a leap of faith and I stepped out and resigned. And when I did that, I didn't know that I was pregnant at the time.
Oh, wow.
So when I resigned, because of my position, I gave 90-day notice. So I gave my resignation in March, knowing that I would be done June 30th, but not knowing that I would be pregnant. And then on top of that, I had a very tumultuous pregnancy. So I was very sick and had to go in FLA and leave prematurely. So there was a lot of emotions going on at the same time, and opportunity for me to say, no, I'm going to stay. But something told me it was really time to branch out and get this done. So that's what I did. Long story short, by the way, because I had IVs, I had visiting nurses coming to my home, and I was still trying to interview for other jobs while, I started embracing a difference. I was going to interviews with the IV, like in my suit jacket, trying to work, and then go back home to the IVs and the nurses. And then I said, Ben, you're not meant to go on these interviews because you said you were going to start this company. So get going. And I had nothing but time because I was put on bed rest. So.
Wow. What a wild and crazy story.
Yeah.
Talk about like using what's been given to you. Like, so many people probably would have looked at that and been like, this is too much resistance. This probably isn't it. Right. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's amazing that you were able to just take all of that and be like, actually, no, this is not right for me. I'm out here in these interviews and this is actually crazy. Look at what's actually given to me is time, right? And if I do it in a healthy way, if I actually attend to myself, I can actually use the time that I've been given to actually put your energy into something that it sounds like you feel like is more for you, towards your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. It was scary, but I'm glad I did.
I can imagine how scared you were. I mean, put a comment in the chat if you've ever been in a position where you did not know what was going to happen next. And like, imagine your health gets involved. And then we're going to get into the mental health in a bit. But like, yeah, certainly drop a like me too if you can relate to what Venice just shared.
And it looks like during the time you actually had some. Did you write the book before these experiences, or?
So my first book, Because I'm Different, that was published while I was a senior in college. So that had already been published. Embracing My Difference, that second book, that definitely came out after.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is that story in there?
Yeah, it is in there. It is in there. The journey of that and taking that leap of faith and embracing your difference really means embracing your true self and all of who you are, the good, the bad, and all of it, knowing that it was a part of your purpose, a part of your testimony, and then asking yourself, when you do embrace your difference, what are you doing with it? Are you supporting others? Are you, after you know that you're living in your purpose, are you passing it along? Are you putting that energy out into the world?
Wow, that's a big deal.
That's so good.
Yeah. And then the last one?
So my last book, which is the Self-Love, Self-Healing Workbook, that was birthed due to COVID. We were asked to be seated. We had to sit down. And with that, I felt like it was an opportunity to ask those individuals who may be stuck or may be sitting and have new awarenesses, have they done the inner work? Have they really sat down with themselves and asked themselves some questions about their lives? Have they gone through trauma? Have they healed through trauma? And, it was definitely something that I felt was necessary, especially because we were in a place where, we live in a chaotic world, but for some reason we were asked to be still. So it has different chapters that support that when it comes to trauma, relationships, finances, mental health, and just really being true to yourself and doing that inner work.
Wow.
Well, I have the workbook and I love it. So go ahead and go to Venice's website. You guys see it right there. Get yourself a copy.
No, that's amazing. And I know a lot of people, just the pandemic itself created a lot of opportunity. And I know a lot of people were reflecting on things because of it, to that point about having to slow down.
Absolutely. Asking like, who are you? Like,
Yeah.
what is my purpose here? And have I healed through
Mhm.
all the things that you may not have even realized were traumatic to your life? Because we, at times just keep going and we've normalized a lot of things that could have been unhealthy, especially within our childhoods.
Wow.
So we do have a question. Are you going to be sending us signed copies of the books?
It depends on how many people are on. Because you asked, Brittany, I will. I can definitely send you a copy of the book. Make sure you put your address in there. I'll copy it and have my assistant send it on out to you. No
That's
problem.
awesome.
That's
But then
amazing.
also encourage people to go to the website and get it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
Oh,
cool.
that's awesome. Okay. Well, as you know, we're timed. So let's get into it. Obviously, you're the right person to talk to about this, right? Doing a lot of soul searching and helping people do that and healing and thinking about their mental health. So let's get at today's question. Is the taboo around mental health hurting your business? What have you seen, Venice, out there? What have you seen?
Well, one thing that comes to me when you think of it initially, before you go deeper, is customer service, period. Attitudes are contagious. Is yours worth catching? It's one of my favorite quotes. And a lot of people, whenever they go places, no matter where you go and no matter what business you're actually representing or going to, people look at the attitudes of those who are serving. Sometimes, you are presented with somebody who is just like amazing. They have great energy. They are supportive and they want to be at service, and then there's some who just may not be. And it's okay. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have days where it's just not there. But yes, when it comes to starting a business and actually running a business and just going to a business, your mental health has a lot to do with how you show up.
Just showing up. Sorry, I had to put it in the comments so that people can write that down. Just how you show up, and people can sense that, right? Like you walk into. I feel like I'm thinking about times where I've walked into a store. To your point about customer service, and like you can just tell like someone's had a bad day, and like things aren't going well. And it is contagious. Well, at least for me, because now I'm like, oh man, are they not gonna like help me now because they're having a bad day, right? Like I know, at least for me anyway, that's the way I think about it. Or like to be honest, sometimes I'm like, oh, let me not bother them, let me find somebody else, right? And if you're a commission based, if you're making money off of like people who come up to you or who talk to you, like that's gonna hurt your bottom line.
Absolutely. And then there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and I'm speaking on this in a few weeks at another conference, but we get excited about our businesses that we're birthing here. Like, and hey, I've been there, I get it. And I'm still excited and passionate about embracing your difference. I have found though that, those who don't do the inner work, it could affect your business. Like there's some peace with awareness. And sometimes when you don't do the inner work, or if you're not aware of certain things and you're not aware of how you show up or some things you may not have necessarily healed from, then yes, it will show up in your business. And even if it doesn't show up in a customer service space, like it really is all about that alignment. So things that you may not have in order, or your ways of being due to childhood stuff or relationship stuff, like the habits that you normally have had for so many years that you may not be aware that affects other people, is gonna really pour into the business that you create, because it's still a part of you and it hasn't really necessarily been released.
Wait, so what comes up for me? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jen.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. So what comes up for me as I'm listening to you talk about this is on the, maybe I'm going to say the other side, but just from the perspective of somebody who works for a company, I I almost feel like for me to come in one day and say, "Hey, I'm having a rough day. I need some time," it's something that would generally fall on like deaf ears, given where I worked, and maybe there are different cultures in companies, but I just don't think as a whole that's like we are allowed to have mental challenging days. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
At a place of work, it's kind of like just do your job. You know what I mean?
And I understand that, and I hold my employees to the same expectation to an extent. And you have to ask yourself, but how many days can you show up like that before you say, I need to do some extra work here? Because at the
Okay.
end of the day, the job has to get done.
Hmm.
But then asking yourself, like, wait a minute, I'm showing up like this 9 out of 10 days or 8 out of 10 days. Then what? And if your employer or your supervisor sees that, right, and maybe you have supervision or maybe you don't, knowing that there are options and there are resources out there for you based on the company in which you work for. So a lot of companies have what is called EAP, it's employee assistance programs, where you're able to have free sessions that are paid for by your employer. Some
Okay.
people go into businesses, and they work for a place where, you're excited about getting this job. So what you're going to do, you're going to sign the contract, you're going to sign all the insurance paperwork, but not really knowing that there are other things that are there to support you so that you can
Yeah.
come in and show up as your best self. Even when you put the fake it like you make it face, you can still have that time to do the work that is necessary for yourself.
So what would you say to the person who doesn't have that boss? So there's no direct feedback. I mean, our audience specifically, a lot of people are in the field of network marketing. So it's essentially, you may have a team or a structure around you, but you kind of are by yourself on a day-to-day basis. What would you say to that person who 8 out of 9 days they're showing up to their network marketing business with
Mm-hmm.
that lackluster energy and there's nobody there to say, hey, you need to get this figured out, or there is no department that you can
Right.
go to. You know
It's,
what I mean? Like, no,
yeah.
seriously, there
Yeah.
is no department that you can reach out to
Mm-hmm.
for help in this. What
Mm-hmm.
kind of advice do you give to those people?
Mm-hmm. I would say that if you are listening and you have been in that space or you are in that space,
Mhm.
know that, especially because of the way that mental health has been discussed lately, there's tons of resources out there. So again, it really goes back to you, having the courage to reach out to, a website, looking up a website, knowing that there's a plethora of resources out there. And sometimes people have that number or they have that website and they take some time to actually dive into it. But
Yeah.
once you do, there's always a way. There's always a way. So it really does start with you and having that courage to take that chance on you, really.
Nice.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's so many things. Okay, so
I could go on and on. I just wasn't sure, like, should I keep rambling
No,
here?
no, 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 no.
no, you're good. We might ask you to go deeper into some things, but one of the things I was thinking about, and I hate to like jump back and forth, but I really would love to. So for me, this is like totally selfish, but maybe there are other people like me. I love to hear examples. When people give like an example, it really kind of like brings things
Anchors something
home
in.
to me. Yeah, exactly. Would you mind, of course, not
Mhm.
naming any names or anything like that, but would you mind giving us an example of someone who you saw them struggling with something, right? Whether it be a trauma or just, I don't know, whatever it is that was going on for them, and
Mhm.
how you actually saw it impact whether it was their work or their own business, and like what's happened when it was finally addressed, like
Mhm.
the change that you saw. I would love like an example.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I was actually at an event a few weeks ago, and we were speaking about healing and what it takes, and how you end up showing up wearing whatever is actually happening with you at the time. And there was a woman there who was speaking about somebody who took her to the side because she was just like that angry woman coming to work every single day. And don't get me wrong, we go through stuff. We all go through stuff, but that authentic transparency, or just even being genuine with each other, sometimes it takes a gentle hand, or a gentle, like, your eyes speak volumes. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but the way you are showing up, or the way that the energy that you're giving, it shows that a lot is going on. Maybe you want to get some help there. You know what I mean? And she was at that job for now over 10 years, but nobody said anything to her for like 9 months. So it takes somebody really coming to you sometimes, if you don't have the awareness to really check yourself and say, like, your attitude is atrocious. You know what I mean? Or knowing that deep down inside, it may not be intent. Sometimes one of my greatest things is, like, when it comes to habits or your ways of beings that you may not be aware of, when it's not intentional, it's habitual. And sometimes we not only bring our habits, or ways of being that may make people uncomfortable, or just may not resonate, right? You can bring it into your job, and you can bring it into your relationships. So just like when I say, like, doing that inner work, and being more aware of what you bring to the table, it really speaks volumes to all aspects of your life, because a lot of times it's not intentional, it's just habitual. So when you become more aware, you get to see your habits, get to see your patterns, and what they're actually not only doing to you, but how it's affecting other people too.
Where's the soulful life coach come up?
So I'm a therapist, and I'm a spiritual life coach, but I do a lot of soul work. You heard me say a few times over and over, like that inner work. Like, I really like to start with your inner self, going back to the truth of who you really are. At the end of the day, like, especially when people, I'll give an example of, like, a relationship jargon, or things that people say when they're hurt, right? It's like, yeah, I don't speak to that person, I feel some type of way. That really means that you don't feel loved, and you don't feel respected. That's what it really boils down to. There's some hurt there. And a lot of times, it starts way beyond the person you're even speaking about. So, I do a lot of soul work, and really seeing that the issue is not really with the person. It really starts with you.
Is that like projecting?
Absolutely. And again, sometimes it's unconscious, and sometimes it's conscious. But if it's conscious, that's because there's some hurt there. There's lack of forgiveness. There's some inner child stuff. That's the little girl or the little boy who hasn't really been healed from some stuff, So then there's adult temper tantrums that could actually happen within your relationships, or even when you go to work, or if you start in a business, or whatever have you, like learning ways of coping, or ways of, like, new ways of being, and really shedding those older ways and ways that really didn't serve you before. So, like, we peeling that layers in a way that's just not as easy as a banana. It's more so like polio string cheese. That's how you peel that layers, and it takes some time. So we're going within. And then another reason why I call myself the soulful life coach is I do a lot of grief work too. Like, just really, like, some ancestral stuff, like looking at those patterns that really could have occurred within the womb that you wasn't even aware of. So you got to go back a little bit. Talk about your childhood. Talk about how life was before you even came out of the womb, So it's a lot of that.
No, I'm fascinated. I had heard about the fact that if you grew up in, like, a house where there's, like, a lot of yelling, or if you were born into, and I guess during your infant, that period of time, there was, like, a lot of yelling going on around you, how that could actually affect the baby.
Yeah, it starts way beyond that. It really does. It starts in the womb. It can start when the baby is a baby. The babies are the closest truly to God. They come out with all love surrounding them. You see a pregnant person, everybody wows about a pregnant person. All you want to do is be like, oh my gosh, like, you're amazing, you look so beautiful. And then when the baby comes, it's the same thing. Oh my gosh, you have a baby shower. Oh my gosh, the baby gets here, the baby is surrounded by love. However, the baby is now exposed to the world, and they live in a household with people who have experiences, who have their own ways of beings, and maybe trauma, maybe drama, or maybe they did the work, but then, they are being taught by
Right.
somebody who has been exposed to the world.
Yeah.
So, just really doing that work to really see where those patterns started and coming into a place where you are okay with yourself and your integrity, your peace, your love, knowing that at the end of the day, the highest vibration truly is love, because that's all we all really want. And that's how we started before we came out of the womb.
Mm. Wow. And I'm saying deep.
Venice is on here preaching.
Amen. 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 If you're getting some value from this, guys, just drop some fire in that chat. Oh man. I know we're coming close to the end, so if anyone has any questions for Venice, let's get that. And
well, I love there was a comment that Brittany made earlier, just saying how like it's kind of sad, right, that it took a pandemic to bring about this like literally like human awareness. Like we need to take a look at our mental health, right? Like it took a pandemic to have all of us get to this place. Even though there were people like you who were like screaming it, probably like hello, right? But then it took literally people being forced to stop, right? Let's just stop what you're doing.
I want to think about that. I mean, in most instances where even the way you can kind of see society going now, when do we have an opportunity to stop? When are you being told? I mean, I remember so many people who they were told for years that their job could not be done remotely. I mean, they were literally told, hey, could we consider this? And they were told it's absolutely financially impossible to do that until you were forced to have to make investments. I mean, the pandemic to me forced people to have to do certain things. I mean, they were talking about the amount of restaurants. Sadly, a lot of them are gone now, but how many of them pivoted into deliveries where they never, you know what I mean? They never did that before. So as sad as certain obviously aspects of that all was, it obviously forced a lot of people, aside from the introspective work, to actually grow and adapt and be creative, for a while.
For 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it allowed us to see how much, like you said, Winston, like we don't stop.
Yeah.
How we didn't stop.
Yeah.
Until now. Like it's really a principle of choice where you get to co-create really truly who you want to be and what you want to put out into this world. So you have a choice of, like, when it comes to like those terms of, sometimes people say, you've heard, I'm sure, I'm trying to protect my peace and things like that. Like, really, what does that mean? Are you like, what does protecting your peace mean? Are you practicing that? Have you like really developed ways in which you take your time out, where you put the phone in the drawer and take a day or two to yourself? And don't get me wrong, we all got to work, you know what I mean? But like really co-creating a life that you desire may allow you to be able to do that one day, or even more frequently, where you could really take that time for yourself.
I love that you challenge what I don't want to. Let me get this out. Wait. Let me get this out.
Yes.
So no, I love the fact that's the second time you've done it, and I was gonna ask about the fact that you challenge. I don't want to say cliche, but there's this auto response, and I've actually found myself doing this. There's just times where I'll say something and it came out and I really didn't think about it, right? I just respond, and it's similar to what you said. I'll just say this cliche statement, but I'm not, there's something deeper going on, but I don't take the time to even really try and articulate that. I just throw out and you pointed out two of them already with the statement you made earlier about what someone may not like someone else, and you'll ask them why, and it's like, because, and you're like, because of what? And there's something else going on there, but it's just like this response that we just throw, you know what I mean? We just throw out.
Right.
I just think that's insane. I love that, because I know that for myself, I realize more and more, like there's times where I'm just responding to things, but I haven't stopped to take the time to actually think about what I'm actually being asked right now, and what exactly I'm feeling right now, actually.
Oh, that's a big one right there.
Yeah, I am angry, but why am I? Yeah, like, why am I upset about this? Like, what exactly did I think I lost, or like, you know what I mean? Like, what exactly am I reacting to right now?
Exactly.
Well, so as we go into overtime, I actually want to go into that. So Brittany asked a question. So Brittany, you'll get the answer to this in overtime. But it was actually on my mind too. So like, I would love for you to go over like tips. What are some things that people can look out for to help them understand like, ooh, okay, I just did something, or I said something, or I heard something that someone said about me that is an indication that I need to take a step back and take care of my mental health. I would love for us to like start talking about stuff like that, because just like you guys just mentioned, like you'll just say stuff, you're saying stuff, you're reacting, you're doing things, but it's so automatic, you're so on the go that you can't like get yourself out of it, or like it's like a month later and you're like, oh yeah, what did I do?
No,
But if we
and
could
to
have
that,
something, if we could have like if you could tell us some tips or something like that, just so that we can have like an awareness around it, I think that would be really helpful for everyone.
Sure thing.
And I like this character word, because there's, again, are there, for some people, I think we've kind of started, we have a character that we are in some sense. And I love that you're saying that some aspects of our personality may be off-putting to others. How do you identify where, I think there's a culture around not caring about what other people think or say about you. So how can you distinguish not really caring what somebody may be saying negatively about you, and taking something and going, wait, a couple people are saying I'm this, so maybe I actually should start looking into why others are
That's
thinking
another
this about
good.
me.
That's good.
No, because it's like, you can be stern to a certain degree, but then what if it's just so much that you're actually losing, or to that point hurting your business because of this way you're being.
Okay, so this is what we're doing
in overtime. I know.
Okay.
I'm really excited now. Okay,
All right.
So guys, if you want to reach out to Venice, if you want to get her book, definitely go get that book, right? Please go to her website. You'll be able to purchase her ticket there. She is also on social media. There's her Instagram. She's a real person. She'll respond to you. So please reach out to her. Honestly, like if not for you, maybe someone you know. I'll just say this, this might be like the pink elephant in the room, but let's be honest, like there aren't a lot of people of color who are therapists who you would want to turn to like have these types of conversations. So if not for you, maybe someone would be interested in talking to Venice and using her services. We haven't even talked about the couples stuff that you do, which is always
that actually looks very exciting. I love seeing things
I know this retreat. I mean, definitely check out her website, and again, if not for you, then somebody make sure that you get them connected to Venice and either social media or website. So for those of you who are our community members on Patreon, we are going to see you over there in just a minute. If you are not a Patreon member, you can just click on the Patreon link in the comment section. It's either $4, $10, or $20. You decide which one you want, and we will see you there.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So thank you guys for joining us. We will see you guys next week. And for everyone else, as always, remember you deserve a good life.
Say that.